Good morning, and welcome to our news discussion podcast. Today, we'll be covering several key international and political stories. Let's start with a developing story in Estonia. A Romanian F-16 jet deployed with NATO air policing forces in the Baltics shot down what is believed to have been a Ukrainian drone over southern Estonia on Tuesday. Authorities said the incident occurred as part of NATO's ongoing air policing mission in the region.
That sounds like a serious incident. Do we know why the drone was shot down?
According to reports, the drone was believed to be a Ukrainian one, and it was shot down by the Romanian F-16 jet. Ukraine has since apologized for the incident.
I see. So, was there any damage or casualties reported as a result of this drone being shot down?
The reports don't mention any specific damage or casualties. The focus is more on the fact that it was a Ukrainian drone in Estonian airspace, which raises questions about airspace management and coordination between Ukraine, Estonia, and NATO.
That makes sense. It's a complex situation with multiple countries involved. How does this incident reflect on NATO's air policing mission in the Baltics?
Well, NATO's air policing mission is designed to ensure the integrity of NATO airspace. The fact that a drone was shot down suggests that the mechanisms are in place and functioning. However, it also highlights the need for better coordination and possibly clearer protocols for dealing with unidentified or unauthorized drones.
Absolutely. Coordination between different countries' military assets is crucial. Let's move on to another story.
Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich said on Tuesday that the International Criminal Court's prosecutor is seeking a warrant for his arrest. Smotrich described this as a declaration of war and vowed to retaliate against the Palestinian Authority.
That's quite a strong reaction. What are the implications of the ICC potentially issuing an arrest warrant for Smotrich?
If the ICC does issue a warrant, it would significantly complicate Smotrich's international travel and potentially strain Israel's relations with ICC member states. The ICC typically issues warrants for individuals accused of war crimes or other serious violations.
So, what specific actions is Smotrich alleged to have taken that might have prompted the ICC's move?
The reports don't specify the exact allegations against Smotrich. However, given his position and involvement in Israeli policies, it's likely related to actions taken in his official capacity, possibly related to settlement activities or other controversial policies.
I understand. The situation is quite tense. Let's move to another story.
Involving political endorsements in the United States. President Trump has endorsed Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton in the GOP primary runoff for the U.S. Senate, dealing a significant blow to incumbent Senator John Cornyn. This endorsement comes just ahead of next week's voting.
That's a big deal, especially since Cornyn is a sitting senator. What might have influenced Trump's decision to endorse Paxton over Cornyn?
According to various reports, Trump's endorsement often aligns with his personal preferences and perceived loyalty. Paxton's alignment with Trump's policies and his support for Trump during controversy might have been factors.
That makes sense. Trump's endorsements can be quite influential within the Republican Party. How might this endorsement affect the Senate race in Texas?
Trump's endorsement is likely to boost Paxton's campaign significantly, potentially shifting the dynamics of the race. However, the outcome remains uncertain as it still depends on various factors, including voter turnout and Paxton's ability to capitalize on the endorsement.
Right. The Texas Senate race is shaping up to be quite interesting. Let's discuss another international story involving India and Vietnam.
India's Defense Minister Rajnath Singh met with his Vietnamese counterpart Phan Van Zong in Hanoi, discussing ways to expand defense cooperation, particularly in maritime security, defense industry, and military training.
That's an interesting development, given the strategic importance of both India and Vietnam in the Asia-Pacific region. What specific areas of cooperation are they looking to enhance?
The discussions focused on strengthening their comprehensive strategic partnership, which marks 10 years. They agreed to cooperate more closely on maritime security, defense industry development, and regional stability issues.
So, how does this fit into the broader geopolitical landscape, especially considering China's growing influence in the region?
Both India and Vietnam have concerns about China's military expansion and its impact on regional security. Strengthening their defense cooperation is likely a response to these shared concerns, aiming to enhance their collective security and stability in the region.
That context makes a lot of sense. Finally, let's touch on a story about refugee admissions to the United States.
The Trump administration plans to admit up to 10,000 more white South African refugees into the United States, citing discrimination against Afrikaners as the reason for their refugee status.
That's a significant number. What's the background to this decision, and how does it fit into the broader context of U.S. refugee policy?
The administration argues that white South Africans, particularly Afrikaners, face discrimination and persecution in South Africa, justifying their acceptance as refugees. This move is part of a broader effort to provide refuge to specific groups facing persecution.
I see. So how does this decision reflect on the Trump administration's overall approach to refugee admissions?
The Trump administration has been selective in its refugee admissions, often prioritizing groups that are perceived to be under particular threat or persecution. This decision aligns with that approach, focusing on a specific group that they believe meets the criteria for refugee status.
That provides some context. It's been a pleasure discussing these stories with you.
Likewise, I think we've covered a good range of topics. Well, that concludes our discussion for today. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you. Until next time.